Let's dive right into this explainer. Think about this for a second. A failure in an invisible, everyday system is statistically far more likely to disrupt your life today than any conventional military threat. Imagine this invisible shield. It's constantly operating in the background of your life, protecting everything from that paycheck hitting your bank account on Friday all the way up to the massive national power grid keeping your lights on. Today, we're breaking down a concept that usually gets buried in dry, academic jargon, but is actually the absolute bedrock of our modern survival. We're talking about economic security.
So, when you hear the phrase national security, what instantly pops into your head? Probably military might, heavily fortified borders, advanced defense systems, right? Well, I want to challenge that assumption for a minute. We need to shift our focus away from just those physical borders and look squarely at the economy. Because here's the reality. Without a functioning, resilient economy, those traditional defense mechanisms simply cannot exist.
Let's ground this right away with how the United Nations actually defines it. They call economic security the condition of having stable income or other resources to support a standard of living now and in the foreseeable future. Notice those last few words, now and in the foreseeable future. It's all about predictability. It's the ability of individuals, households, and entire nations to meet their basic needs sustainably. It basically means you aren't just scraping by today, you actually have the confidence you're going to be able to survive tomorrow too.
Here's our roadmap for this explainer. 1. Defining economic security. 2. Your personal safety net. 3. Defending the nation. 4. Modern threats and resilience. And finally, 5. The ultimate payoff.
Okay, starting with Section 1, your personal safety net, or the micro level of security. It's kind of like a mirror effect in action. As an individual, you absolutely need a stable job, housing, healthcare, and some form of social safety net. Well, a nation requires these exact same things, just on a massive macro scale. A stable overall economy, protected financial institutions, and the resilience to bounce back from external shocks. These aren't two totally completely different concepts. Individual stability, when you scale it up millions of times, literally is national stability. Your own personal financial peace of mind, that's the exact same building block used to build a nation's defense.
Let's make this super real for a second. Imagine waking up tomorrow to find out your company has suddenly shut down. At the micro level, economic security is the only thing preventing that sudden life event from turning into an immediate, total catastrophe. It means having reliable access to a stable job and income, for sure, but it also means having the actual purchasing power to afford the groceries on your table, your rent, education, and healthcare. And critically, it's about those social safety nets, things like unemployment benefits, health insurance, and retirement pensions. So if you do get sick or lose your job, you don't instantly face ruin. It's basically peace of mind formalized.
Moving right along to Section 2, National Economic Defense. Time to zoom out to the macro.
Okay, so a secure nation essentially has to build a massive fortress, layer by layer. Step 1, protect strategic industries. We're talking energy, defense, food, and super advanced areas like quantum tech. Step 2, secure essential resources. Because let's face it, you can't build modern tech without reliable access to semiconductors, critical minerals, and pharmaceuticals. Step 3, fortify critical infrastructure. That means safeguarding the data centers, the power grids, and the transport systems. And Step 4, build supply chain resilience. This involves diversifying your trade partners and using concepts like friendshoring. Remember during the pandemic when that sudden global shortage of microchips literally halted the production of everything from laptops to cars? Yeah, that is exactly why nations are intentionally moving their supply chains to allied, friendly countries, so they aren't totally paralyzed if just one thing goes wrong overseas.
There's a quote that sums us up perfectly. A strong and stable economy underpins a nation's overall ability to defend and advance its interests in a rapidly changing global environment. You simply cannot have strong defense capabilities without economic self-reliance. If you're relying entirely on foreign nations for your critical goods, your military hardware, or your energy, well, your defense is effectively hollow. Economic security is national security.
But here's the thing, the modern battleground, it's not just physical anymore. It is overwhelmingly digital. We're seeing this massive acceleration in digitalization right now, which makes cybersecurity absolutely crucial to protecting our industries. Just to put the stakes into perspective here, the global energy sector alone faces literally billions of attempted cyber attacks every single day. If an external threat can shut down your financial systems or hack into your power grid from a laptop sitting half a world away, traditional borders don't mean a whole lot. Defending critical infrastructure today means defending networks and data. All right, Section 3, Modern Threats and Resilience. Let's look at the scope of this shield.
Think of this like a giant hierarchy of needs for an entire society, built completely from the ground up. At the very foundation, you've got daily survival. That means employment security, income security, and food security. Without those, society fractures immediately. Move up a level to the walls of the structure. System stability. Here you need social protection, stable financial systems to keep people's savings safe, and secure infrastructure and resources like water and energy. Finally, at the very top, the roof, you have the global and future level. To thrive in the long run, a nation has to secure equitable trade and market access, maintain sound economic policy, and ensure technological security, like building capacity in AI and green energy. It is a massive, incredibly interconnected web of resilience.
Now, managing all of this on a global scale, it's incredibly tricky. Policymakers have to walk a super thin tightrope, and it's basically like walking that tightrope while people are literally throwing heavy rocks at you. Nations have to balance being open to foreign investments so they can attract capital, but at the exact same time, they need strict screening mechanisms so they don't accidentally sell off critical national infrastructure to an adversary. They have to protect against unfair trade practices and external manipulation, all while building up enough tolerance to withstand those heavy rocks. The massive, unpredictable global shocks like pandemics, severe recessions, or geopolitical trade wars.
Finally, Section 4, the ultimate payoff. Let's talk about why all of this actually matters.
So, after all this talk about global supply chains, quantum tech, and macroeconomic policy, what is the actual real-world impact? Well, when governments and institutions actually succeed in building an inclusive, secure economic system, the payoff is absolutely immense. First off, it promotes profound national stability. It directly reduces the likelihood of civil unrest, crime, and forced economic migration. It actively reduces poverty and narrows the wealth gap by providing genuine, stable job opportunities. It creates this secure environment that fosters innovation and allows domestic businesses to grow. But most importantly, it comes right back down to you, the individual. It ensures you have access to your basic needs, a decent standard of living, financial independence, and ultimately, your dignity.
So, I'm going to leave you with a final, slightly provocative thought to chew on today. Based on everything we've just unpacked together, from the resilience of international supply chains down to your own local safety nets, is your community economically secure enough to withstand the next major global shift? It's a question every citizen, community, and nation needs to be asking themselves right now. Thanks for learning with me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.